The power of the angels. To avoid all incoming threats and attacks. Encounter swiftly without any sense of thought. To move and flow like water, but to strike fiercely like a raging storm. A power like this doesn't belong in the natural world. But here, a football maniac will be bestowed this great technique in order to conquer all foes in front of him. What if Yoichi Isagi had ultra instinct?
Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a game, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of cabin to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all just for these hoes and live life. I grown the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to kill.
In Tokyo, a young football prodigy, Yoichi Isagi, spent countless hours honing his skills on local pitches. One fateful evening, during a crucial match under the glow of the setting sun, Isagi found himself against a formidable opponent. As the pressure mounted and the game would reach its climax, a sudden surge of energy coursed through him, unlocking a hidden ability within him. With lightning-quick intuition and unmatched reflexes, Isagi transcended the usual limitations of a human, moving effortlessly across the field without any second thought. Why does this feel so easy now? Everyone else is moving so slow, he would think. His teammates and opponents are left in awe as he effortlessly weaved through the defense with unparalleled speed and precision. This was truly a sight. And was this truly the same Isagi that they've always been playing with? Even the coach didn't know what to think of it, because his skills have drastically increased in just seconds. As the crowd cheered in amazement, he couldn't hear them. Isagi was in a world of his own, and he would go on to score the final goal of the match. His dark hair flowed perfectly, and his body felt an immense heat. Isagi's newfound ability, which he later dubbed Ultra Instinct Sign, propelled him to new heights in the world of football. Still, it was a new ability or state of mind that completely took over his consciousness, as it wasn't like he was able to turn it off and on. But just from this one time accessing the form, he was able to grow incredibly, taking on some of the attributes within his regular state, as Isagi remembers this feeling well, as it was something that felt angelic, an ability all to himself, that allowed him to have incredible movement and field of view. To him, the most incredible part of this form was its shooting techniques that it gave him. The first was a quick power shot that had insane precision, and the second was a knuckle shot that could be fired from any angle. He continues to grow, working to master this ability, wanting to take it to new heights. Word of his incredible talent spread like wildfire, attracting the attention of a prestigious high school and their scouts. Accepted into one of the top football institutions in the country, Yoichi Isagi's journey, continued as he faced off against the best young talents in Japan, and with each match, he delved deeper into the potential of his ultra instinct, mastering the power to anticipate plays before they even happen, leaving his opponents bewildered and the spectators mesmerized. As the final whistle blew in the championship match of a high school tournament, Yoichi Isagi stood victorious, his ultra instinct sign shined brighter than ever, with his eyes being set on an even greater challenge ahead. Isagi's journey to a World Cup for Japan was only just beginning, as a couple weeks do go by, with Isagi actually getting offers from club teams around his area, with some even from other countries. They value his skill as a striker and think he would be an amazing fit for their environment. However, Isagi focused on one specific letter, from a place known as Blue Lock, as it was unheard of. Wondering what he should do, he asked his mother, who told him to follow his heart. No matter what, it wouldn't lead him wrong. Isagi nods, while smiling, looking at her white hair. His mother accidentally pushes over a glass, but she catches it, without even looking, as it seems this ability runs through the family. However, it's still spilled on the ground, causing Isagi to grab a napkin and wipe some of it up. And as he does, his mother then screamed in excitement. He wonders why, but then she exclaims how he's just like her. His white hair is beginning to come from in his roots. She says that it's a family trait that she used to hate, but now she loves it. Isagi goes into a mirror looking at it and smiling, wondering how he looked with white hair. Still, he needed to get ready for what's coming next, as it was unexpected. Until Blue Lock begins, Isagi ramps up the intensity of his training. By now, he was able to use Ultra Instinct at will, but it still required a tremendous amount of effort as sort of a last result type of ability. When he does arrive to the facility, many people know him, but he was only focused on the words of Jinpachi Ego. They rang through his mind over and over, causing him to run through the stage first. A place where he can become the number one in Japan and then the world. How exciting! He loves the thought of a challenge like this. Arriving back to the facility on a bus, Isagi is given the number 265 as he's told that he's on Team Y, and he walks in, seeing 11 other players as Ego tells them about the game of tag, and then it begins. And what's funny is that the person with the ball goes for Isagi once, but since he wasn't moving, he then dodged it without even looking, leading to their elimination. Now they had to train their bodies over and over again, day in and day out, before they even began the first selection with their matches. Through this training, Isagi's body becomes more balanced, which helps out his Ultra Instinct. Before their match against the team, they had to make a lineup where no one objects to Isagi becoming the striker since he was the highest rank. Nico and Okuwa plan to support Isagi in the upcoming match and try to be more friendly with him, but this Isagi chose not to rely on others. When stepping onto the field, they face Team V with Nagi, Zantetsu, and Ryo, a triple threat team that starts the match by scoring a goal with Nagi's trapping ability. Seeing this firsthand, Isagi overcomes and adapts. Team Y goes on their counter, where Nico gets the ball to Okuwa, who sends it up ahead for Isagi. Zantetsu has the speed to run back and defend, but Isagi dodges his defensive efforts with his new style of play, Vanish Dribbling, which uses the offensive evasion from Ultra Instinct and the opponent's field of view to constantly cause the appearance of vanishing from side to side. This breaks Zantetsu down as he can't defend it at all. Changing directions and pace, he's overwhelmed. Who the hell is this guy? His dribbling is on a completely different level. This is when Isagi bursted right by him and now was looking for a shot. Still having defenders guard him, Okuwa raised his hand showing he was open. Isagi then focused on his vision, and from a distance, you could see Ryo blocking the passing lanes as well. Out of my way, Isagi then rips through the defenders, scoring a monstrous goal. Now the game could truly begin, as he gives Team V a run for their money. But, with the three prodigies and Team Y not having a defense at all, they are defeated. However, Isagi ends the match with 3 goals. Disappointed in his loss and his flaws from this form, he seeks to improve it watching the film of this match. He then realizes that it just wasn't an offensive ability. Going on to their next match against Team Z, who has Kira here instead of Isagi. Team Y begins with the ball and passes around in their own defense. The ball is sent to Okuwa, who was moving into space. However, Isagi claimed it for his own, stealing the pass and shocking everyone. Using Okuwa to smokescreen, Isagi got off a curved shot that went right by Gagamaru. Team Z then wondered just who was this striker, as still, they had the motivation to win, gaining their own goal in the very next play, tying the game. Isagi thinks to himself that this is interesting, so he decides to calm his mind and his spirit. Nico was the one to recognize that he's going into that state of mind once again, so he tells the team to go into offensive formation too. Isagi then sends the ball back, rushing ahead with incredible speed, dashing and weaving through the defenders as he was untouchable without the ball. Meanwhile, his team worked the ball up the field in a diamond formation, with Isagi at the center. Nico sends the ball forward, but as Isagi goes to trap it, it's intercepted by no one other than Kira, who was only focusing on him to predict him. Before he could even move though, he was defended by Isagi, who recovered. He tries to pass, but the aura of Isagi struck fear within him. What the hell is he? Kira looked for any options but panics, leading to Isagi predicting his movements and then stealing the ball, blowing right by him with speed. Raichi then defends Isagi but is dropped to the ground by dribble moves. And by this time, it was too late as Isagi scored again. His hair waved through the air in the room as everyone wondered if they could stop someone like him. For the rest of the match, it did seem impossible, as Kira would think of something like surrounding Isagi with 2 other players, but when this happened, he'd flick the ball over their heads, which would just lead to more goals by him. As not only was his Ultra Instinct sign a very good movement ability, but it also forced Isagi to be creative, like no other, coming up with unconventional moves. They get the win here and now prepare to face Baru and Team X, which actually goes smooth since Baru was their only option, and with Isagi's new defensive style, it worked on him perfectly. And then, for the final match of the first selection was against Team W, and it would be a wash, because they wouldn't be able to stop Isagi and the twins would get aggravated and mess up their own style of play. Now begins the training, before entering the second selection, where Isagi tries something a little different. Before it, he enters UI and plans to stay in this state of mind during all of their training. Of course it is tough and there are times where he falls out of it, but he's able to get it done, pushing it to new heights as he gains a better understanding of his abilities within this state of mind, and his thoughts also begin to change. His emotions slowly fade as you can see Isagi becoming more serious. Adding on, his confidence increases to the point where he seeks an even greater challenge. When the next test is revealed, seeing Itoshi Rin, Isagi then heads right after him, believing this to be the person that will push him to new heights. Entering seeing the dummy keeper, Isagi gets excited sensing something. The ball then comes out from the wall and he volleys it into the net. Not half bad, but I wonder what else I could do here. Our protagonist later exits in his base state and not UI, as he actually was tied with Rin when exiting, as each one of them looked at the other teaming up, and their third teammate would be Tokimitsu. This is when they waited, as eventually, they were challenged by Kira, Nagi, and Bachira. Isagi watches Rin score the opening goal in this match. This would of course shock their opponents, and Isagi just a little bit, as he thought that Rin was incredible, and he might be the person that he was looking for. A true rival. When their opponents would try to counter, Isagi and Tokimitsu had them locked down completely. Now, they would get a steal and begin their own counter, as Isagi's vision had improved so much because of the last test, and he goes on to show off his abilities, demolishing them. And this was without Ultra Instinct, as he was still leagues ahead of them. And with Rin on his team, this was a complete cakewalk for them. They would take Bachira, still believing he could be useful to them, or at least some fun. Waiting for the next team to face, Isagi and Rin go head to head over and over, where Itoshi Rin realizes that Isagi may be ahead of him, if only by a little bit. But this was Isagi not using UI, as he still held that up his sleeve, as right now, his vision of the field was improving greatly, as he had also unlocked Metavision after a couple days of doing this. Isagi, entering this new state of mind, in this new world, was ready for his next challenge, and here it came, with Ryo, Nagi, Chigiri, and Kunigami entering. You ready for a rematch? Isagi accepted, as now the teams were seen on the field. Rin starts with the ball again, instantly going for a shot, but Nagi was able to run back and trap it before it would go in. But Isagi appears, defending him close. What now? This was when he tried to dribble, but Isagi saw right through it, stealing it and getting a quick goal. You still try to rely on others, you weakling. Ryo tells him to shake it off, as they'll try to respond, but Isagi sees right through their plan. Going right to Ryo to intercept the next pass, Isagi looks to open space and goes ahead, but this is when Chigiri was running up right behind him, and Tokimitsu, seeing nervous, shouts that he's coming. But Isagi already knows this. Showing off his Metavision, he spins around Chigiri and cuts into the box where Kunigami would run right at him to block off his shot. But this is where they see it. Isagi gains that immense heat and aura from before, entering Ultra Instinct sign once again. He then avoids the bigger player, and now is open, but Ryo appeared. It's not over yet. Yeah, let's do this, Ryo. Nagi shows up as well, blocking the shot path while Ryo defends him close. Is that all you two got? Everything you do is pathetic. Isagi raises his head, finding a spot that the keeper couldn't defend. Divine punishment. His shot then rips through the air and into the net, causing the duo to fall to their knees. Even though they leveled up, it seemed that Isagi had as well. Ren was actually aggravated by Isagi and wondered just what was he doing. His style of play had just changed completely, It was so cautious yet chaotic, graceful yet destructive. And just what was that shot? It came out of nowhere. Don't tell me that he made it up during the last test against the holographic keeper. He begins to tap into his own ego, as the next time Isagi gets the ball, Rin was right next to him. His tongue was out, and his eyes seemed darker than ever. Oh, so that's what you've unlocked through our training. Good. Now show me more of it. Isagi dances around Rin, trying to break him down, but each time Rin comes back stronger and faster. As you can see, what I'm setting up here, Rin is tapping into Ultra Ego, where he almost gets a steal on Isagi, but he was still too fast, and the game would soon end, with both of them in their own state of flow, as I don't see their opponent standing any sort of chance at all. And out of everyone they could take, Isagi actually chooses Chigiri, and then they would move on. Ego tells him of luck, but here, he actually gives him hints about flow, saying that in their last match, 2 players were each able to tap into that level of play. Isagi and Rin, showing the clip where it happened, and told them to chase after the spark of flow to gain it, and then gain a new representation of self in the world of football. Moving on to the World 5 match, they entered the arena to see the players that they were facing, and walking right by them, Rin tells them that he'll surpass them here. However, Isagi turns around, and we see that his eyes now remain silver. Keep dreaming. Once the match begins, Isagi has the ball and passes it to Rin. If they really wanted a chance, they needed to take it now. Rin uses his Trivela shot, impressing their opponents by scoring. But Loki was using his speed on the next play and devastated everyone. Isagi thought to himself, wondering if he could do something like this, but just in a different way. The team itself, well, they did their best, and Isagi comes up with the ball. He was defended well, but he avoids each attacks and steal attempts. Loki was also impressed by this, so he guarded him closely, only for the striker to stop. What was that? I think it was something like this. Isagi essentially bursted with immense speed, but he did so while changing directions and scoring his own goal, which was the last goal that they would score before the World 5 team got serious and ended the match quickly. Now, Blue Lock enters its preparation for its next arc, with Rin actually scoring a goal. Isagi and him are paired up on a team, but Isagi decides to go his own route, not focusing on playing with his team, but seeking his own glory, which showed he had no real chemistry with any of the other strikers within Blue Lock, leading to him being the one to be sent to the U20 group as a double-edged sword. Isagi walks into the room, smiling and taking a seat, right next to Itoshi Sai. You know, your brother is pretty annoying. I plan to destroy him in our next match. Sai looks at him, saying that he isn't even sure if Isagi has the abilities to do so, making our protagonist laugh. His silver eyes would pierce the players in the room, as he claims Japan won't lose if they allow him to play as their striker. The players in the room of course mock him, but Itoshi Sai says he may be right. He was a prodigy even his club manager was looking at, but suddenly he disappeared. I guess Blue Lock keeps you off the radar pretty well. Isagi nods, and with the help of Japan's prodigy, he convinces the coach of their team to let him start. Soon, the U20 players are seen in the locker room suiting up, walking out to greet their opponents, and then the match would soon begin, with Blue Lock taking the offense by storm. Playing through their midfield, they would try to create an opening for Itoshi Rin, only to have Oliver Aiku be the one to stop it. With Sai recovering it, he looks up, and he starts to counter. I'll swat you all away like flies. He rushes up the field and sends the ball to Isagi, who turns sensing it. What kind of spin is that? There's no way for me to trap it. Fine. Isagi then takes it head on, volleying it into the net while in UI. Right here, Ego realizes that in this moment, stopping these two would have to be their main goal. Blue Lock does respond with their own goal in this match, making it a little more interesting. However, the U20 team still supports Isagi, and after seeing his abilities, they continue to do so. They work around him and Sai to make sure the two of them are able to link up, but it seems that Blue Lock has their own plan by forcing Isagi into a corner where the ball can't be passed to him. Being bodied by Tokimitsu and having Ryu behind him, Isagi was focusing on what was really happening. Activating Metavision, He used it to see how each player was now viewing the field, noticing too many eyes were on him. Alright then, let's change the play. Isagi stops and then dashes right into the box, causing the attention to shift more to him. Instantly, Sai notices this and wonders what he was playing, but Isagi vanishes from sight of the defenders. Using his knowledge of the World 5 match, he then created his own technique, light dash. He was now open, watching the ball come right to him, but when trapping it, Itoshi Rin was on his back. Those eyes of yours still lead you right to me, so what will you do? Isagi focuses on his UI and his metavision, going right around him with the ball. The two begin to battle it out, and this is the catalyst for the awakening of Itoshi Rin in his ultra ego state, where here, he ends the clash and sends the ball out of bounds, as the two would look at each other, with Sai noticing his brother is almost catching up to Isagi, so he needs to push his own striker to the next level, or they may lose. He sets up the corner and looks right at Isagi. I won't kick it until I see if you've made the right move. Isagi was on the near post and guarded by Rin. If you're going to guard me this close, then I'll do something you can't guard. Isagi spins around Rin, making him move with him, and then runs to the back post, not even looking back. Here. Send it here now. Sai watches this and smiles for the first time in a while. You know, Isagi, I'm starting to really like you. He crossed the ball to the back post where Isagi doesn't even turn to look for it. He knows Rin is behind him, and he only has one option, so he goes for a bicycle kick, but is hit by Rin as he shoots it. Still, he scores, but his body hits the ground hard. Isagi lays there for a moment, with Japan getting quiet. As he lays there feeling the pain, he's just in a state of shock. However, Itoshi Sai then speaks to him. I thought you wanted to win. What's stopping you now? Isagi instantly opens his eyes as Sai continues. Make the world kneel to your spirit. Isagi, are you finished? Isagi now stands with more silver and white in his hair than ever, as his black seems like it's completely gone. His mother stands up and cheers, watching her son celebrate the goal. Looks like I'll have to thank your brother for pushing me beyond my limits. Going into the break, Isagi would notice his hair is just like his mother, but his stamina feels like it's replenished and he's grown even stronger in every aspect. When continuing the match, he's in a different realm of skill, which would rival Itoshi Sai as the two linked up on every play. Blue Lock stood no chance at this point, and it was an overwhelming victory for the U20 team, but still, many expected the duo of Isagi and Sai to help them win a World Cup in the future. However, this match is when we see Isagi actually joining Real Madrid with Sai. But I will say, even though this did mark the end of Blue Lock, it didn't for the players, as all of them got offers from different clubs that they played for in the Neo-Egoist League, but it just wouldn't be the Neo-Egoist League. So with that, many matches were held in their respective leagues. When returning to Spain and Real Madrid, they already had their starting striker, Thiago Medina. Seeing Isagi, he wasn't impressed at all and asked if Sai wanted another rematch for the position, but he says he could care less about that. Since Isagi was here, he'd take over. Isagi looks at this striker and could tell that he was insane. This is who he has to surpass in order to win a World Cup. No one else but him. This is what stands in his way. Their first match was against RC Celta, where Isagi doesn't start. He instead watches the game of Medina, being shocked by how athletic and cocky he was. Scoring with his size and skill, making it look easy. He mowed down defenders, and he trapped the ball with the passes of Sai without even looking. I guess the two were used to playing with each other, but this was insane. Isagi now understands why Sai became so good. This was a perfect environment for him. With him now being in a permanent state of Ultra Instinct and having a greater understanding of Metavision, this is where he truly needed to be. Once he surpassed Medina, he knows he'll be ready for what the world has to offer. The season in the Champions League goes by quickly, and soon the players are called for their nation, with both Sai and Isagi returning to Japan, looking completely different. Sai was taller and more muscular, and as for Isagi, he had gotten taller, but gained even more of a balanced physique from learning Medina's playstyle. The two step off of their flight, saying that it's now or never. They need to win a World Cup and begin the comeback for Japan. Sai wasn't nervous, as he wasn't even as serious anymore. Well, around Isagi, I can say. And Isagi always kept the mood up. It's crazy to think that they only played the U20 match a year ago, and now they return to the team. The two think of their times in Spain and how it was a blast, but now it was time to get serious. With the media already being there, Sai didn't speak much, but Isagi wrapped his arms around him. We're taking over starting today. Japan is going to win a World Cup. So if you want to win, you have to take us down. And we welcome any challengers. This goes viral and the two of them soon walk into a room where they see the other members of the team. But let's just go from bottom to top. At goalkeeper, we have Gagamaru, who had went to Germany. Our two center defenders are Aiku and Aryu, who had actually went to Italy. And on the wings, we have Nico and Tokimitsu, who respectively went to Italy and France. As at CDM, we have Raichi, and for those who don't know what CDM is, it means center defensive mid. And as for the wingers, we have Chigiri and Hayori. As for our two center mids, they're of course Sai and Ryo. And now, for our striker, it's of course Isagi. And now for the backup players, we have Kunigami, Rin, Bachira, Hajime, Yukimiya, Baru, and let's just say Nagi. Sitting in a room, each of them was different than the ones we know from the original, as many had changed positions upon entering their own club teams. But here was the final piece to the puzzle. Their coach walks into the room, excited as ever, placing his hand in first before stepping in. Jinpachi Ego makes himself known, saying that this is where Japan's football will truly change. He's made up this team of the best available players, and they have 2 weeks to prepare for their first match, which is against England. Their training begins, and this is completely different, as everyone is pushed to their limits based on their current abilities. And soon the match of the Under-20 World Cup arrives, and Japan is seen suiting up to face England. Walking out, Isagi and Sai comment how this is what they've been waiting for. Every moment and play in their life has led them here to shine on this grand stage. And when stepping out to face England, they see many young prodigies who they know, but still believe that this match may be a sweep. And it was, as Ego's team didn't play around. Having Itoshi Sai in the midfield for someone like Mikage Reo was incredible. He wouldn't just copy his movements and mannerisms, but he would also make up his own plays to create shots for their offense, while having Isagi up top as striker was no joke at all. Metavision combined with his true mastery of Ultra Instinct was scary, as no strategy England came up with could stop him, leading to early goals in this match for Japan that left everyone shocked. Going into the half, Japan was already up by 4 goals, causing Ego to enter the locker room. He makes some subs for different players, taking out Isagi, Sai, and Nico, as he tells them to go rest up for the next match, as the bench will finish this one out. The players actually didn't even have a problem with this, knowing that they would be winning. But Isagi still did want to score more goals, but he could care less. While sitting on the bench, Ego would turn to them, explaining that he believes with the lineup that he's constructed, or the starting lineup at least, could have a possible chemical reaction with the entire team. But right now the goal was to see how each player could possibly tap into the flow state. Knowing what the catalyst could be for different players, it seems that their desires and peak physical performance is what leads them to it. So right now he's trying to unlock that in each player. That was their main goal. Rin was the one that they subbed in for Isagi, as well as Nagi for Sai. Surprisingly, these two don't get in each other's way, as each one of them has different offensive players to support them. All over the world, it's heard that Japan was making their comeback, but that was because they have just defeated England's prodigies 7-0. The world now has them on their radars, but now Japan was getting ready for their next match against America. They watch film and notice a particular player who was incredible on the right wing. And Itoshi Sai comments how that's another player from the new Gen 11, Samuel Ellis. Itoshi Sai tells him that he's very incredible, especially because of how young he is. But don't let him fool you. He lacks discipline. But even though he does, his striking ability was on a different level. Time passes and now they travel to the arena to face the American team, wondering what they would be like. But they were confused when arriving, as they would see a shorter player walking around as if he doesn't know where he is. Isagi notes that he's just as he imagined, but he doesn't take him lightly. America begins with possession of the ball and runs up the field. Their offense wasn't anything impressive until Samuel Ellis steals it from one of his own teammates, who would complain, but he calls him slow and runs up the wing, getting around Chigiri. Still, the speedster catches up, saying he won't be able to shoot it with his dominant foot from this angle, causing Samuel to smile as he dribbles in a way to protect the ball, then looking towards goal. Chigiri defends his weak foot for a shot, but then he shoots it with his strong foot on the outside, still scoring on Gagamaru because of its curve. Ego would sit back smiling. So this is the American prodigy, Samuel Ellis. How will you polished gems respond to that threat? Japan was stunned for a moment, until Itoshi Sai picks up the ball, walking back up the field, and then looking to Isagi, who was also silent. You all are so pathetic to let a goal like that go in. Isagi, yeah, I hear you. Let's turn this match on its head and put this team in their place. Both Isagi and Sai are seen in the flow state with their serious expressions. Japan begins their offense with Sai switching positions to run up the field alongside Isagi, as the two of them then play a dual striker position, as their connection was insane. Back and forth passes with no room for error, speed that couldn't be matched. And then it seemed that their chemistry had taken on a new level, and they were taking on the American team by themselves. Isagi has the opportunity for a shot, but he fakes it, sending it back to Sai. Go. Sai looks down, being annoyed that Isagi wouldn't shoot it, but he understands. An eye for an eye. If their midfielder scores, then so will he, tying the game. This makes the crowd go crazy, as America's players soon realize that they were in over their heads. As for Samuel, for the rest of the match, he's locked down by a combined effort from Raichi and Nico. Japan took over this match, with Isagi and Sei refusing to come out of the game, making sure the world knew what was coming. And going on to the semifinals, they were actually facing a team that knocked out Spain and Thiago Medina, France, with their triple aces of Loki, Charles, and Choppy, which would definitely be a difficult match when facing the duo of Charles and Loki. Match day arrives after some more intense training, and it seems that Blue Lock came up with a different strategy, as at the striker position they had two people, Isagi and Rin, with Sai going solo in the midfield. Isagi and Rin both stood tall, having their own respective flow surge around their body. Let's go all out from the get-go. You can't order me around, Isagi. Isagi then smirked, dashing to the side, allowing Rin to have the ball, as he sends it to his brother, who works it up the field by himself in order to get them open. This is when the defenders of France noticed that Rin was on the side, and he was ripping through the field, while those who supported Isagi moved swiftly and smoothly. Ego smirks, telling the world to watch his divine and destructive offense. The true egoist. Sai has the ball and crossed it to his brother. There you go. Now don't miss. Rin seeing the ball, and he aims to smash it. With direct contact, he swings it into the goal to open up the match, shocking everyone. This started the back and forth between the two teams, as no one knew how this match would end, and it all would come down to one final goal. With each team being tied and exhausted, they only had one choice, was to outsmart their opponents. France, having possession, went for it, with Loki at the forefront, but he wasn't able to score the goal due to Rail blocking him off. Now there was a chance for the counter, as we see Rin and his brother almost gain their own goal, but the shot is blocked by Choppy, who rebounds it as it would float in the air, until we see Isagi jumping with the luck puzzle piece surrounding him. He hits a volley that slams it into the net, with his team surrounding him and celebrating, but Rin was upset that he wasn't the one to score. And with that, Japan was on the grasp of a World Cup, as they needed to prepare for anything, as in their last match, it would be against Germany and Michael Kaiser. This was a huge threat due to his Kaiser impact shot and his tutelage under Noel Noah. With his guidance, Kaiser had become a phenomenal footballer, but he stood no chance against this Japan team. Even with his insane shooting ability, Isagi would be outscoring him in every possession thanks to his mastery of Ultra Instinct. And with him being able to sense danger from defenders, he could score at will. And with Japan winning their first World Cup in a long time, the team and the nation was excited. Jinpachi Ego was actually seen in the hallway, walking by someone, as this person was Noel Noah. You know, he won't stop here. He's chasing right after you. Noel Noah turns around. Good. It's been a while since I had a challenge, so tell your striker I will personally welcome him to the true world of football. As this is where our story would conclude, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it, as I made my own extended arc of the story if you couldn't tell already. I really took my time when doing this to flesh out the relationship of Itoshi Sai and Yoichi Isagi to make it more pivotal to the story. And if you enjoyed this What If, or any fan-made stories that I have on my channel, consider subscribing, as this is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.